Hey guys, Chef Eric here at the Culinary Classroom. A sauce that a lot of my students ask me about is pesto. And summer is coming up. It's a fantastic sauce for this time of year. No cook, involves ingredients that you often associate with really nice warm weather. Basil, garlic, Parmesan cheese. Who doesn't like that? So the other ingredients for pesto are pine nuts, nicely toasted pine nuts. See how golden brown those are? You want that. You can use raw if you want, but toasting them really brings out the flavor. Olive oil, extra virgin is going to be best because you only have 4 ingredients and you need that fruitiness. A pure olive oil is not going to do it. Certainly not a vegetable oil. Garlic, got to have some garlic. The more the merrier. If you want to cut down on the garlic, if you're making this for a first date, you definitely don't want to have that much garlic. And Parmesan cheese. And that's it. I'm putting a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. You'll actually see here I've got some lemon. I'm going to talk about that when I make the sauce. Why lemon juice I really like to include in my pesto. Mortar and pestle, really ideal to make your pesto in. If you have a food processor, that'll work too, but this is really the old school way to do it. Garlic, got to get the garlic, and the first thing we have to do with this is we have to bash it on up and make a paste out of it. So the garlic's going to go into the mortar, and we're going to wind up adding in a little pinch of salt. And that's going to help break down the garlic and actually help to bring out the oils in it too, right? And start to bash it on up. And after a couple of up and down motions, I could actually take the pestle and start to move it around and make a really nice paste out of it, right? It'll be a little bit loud, you're gonna make some noise, but it's not gonna be for very long. Once the basil goes in, you start to bash it up with the mortar and pestle. It's gonna have a tendency to bruise and blacken. I like to use a little bit of lemon juice for this. That's gonna help to keep that from happening. It's also gonna help to brighten up the flavor of the entire sauce. So we have some seeds in here. I'm gonna squeeze a little bit in. Of course, I don't want the seeds, so I'm gonna use my fingers to catch the seeds and let the juice flow between my fingers. About like a ½ teaspoon. Really not gonna need a lot. Now I'm gonna start to go back to bashing again, right? Gonna make some noise. Before the basil leaves start to get too broken up, I wanna add in the pine nuts. Pine nuts in there, and now I'm gonna start to bash it up a little bit more, and you're gonna start to see a real nice paste starting to form, thanks to the oils and the pine nuts and the basil leaves getting broken down. And that's what I'm looking for, a really nice paste. You can still see some fairly large pieces of basil leaf, but almost there. And I want to keep this not very soupy. I like to keep it a little bit on the thick side, so I may not need all this olive oil. And after I have a little bit of olive oil mixed into it, you can see that I start to get a nice, good coating quality, right? I still see bits of basil, and I can see bits of pine nut, and I can see bits of garlic, and we haven't even added in the cheese yet. That'll actually thicken it up a little bit more, which may require us to add in a little bit more olive oil, and that's fine. Next up, the Parmesan cheese. Nicely grated Parmesan cheese. And pop that right on in there, give that a little stir. I want you to get cheese from a wedge and grate it up yourself. Don't want to buy that stuff in a container anymore. And you'll see when the cheese goes in, as I was mentioning before, it's a little bit thicker. If I was going to use this to coat up some pasta, I would probably want to add in a little bit more oil and make it a little bit what we would call looser in consistency. Now sometimes if I'm going to use this on some vegetables, I would keep it a little bit thicker. If I was going to use it on a poached egg or something like that, I would keep it thicker as well. So now the next step is to taste it. I'm going to probably put in a little bit of salt. Parmesan cheese is fairly salty, so I may not need much. A little bit of pepper, probably a little squeeze of lemon juice too, and that's it. A little pinch of salt in here. As I always tell my students, you can always add more, but you can't take it away. So I'm going to put in a couple of little pinches, a little pinch of pepper, and I'm just going to stir this around. And then I want to come on in and give it a taste. Nice and garlicky, but not too much. Pine nut really coming through. I don't think it needs any salt. I think you could probably use just a little bit more lemon juice in it though. Let's kind of brighten it up a little bit. I tell my students that when it comes to sauce making and a lot of cooking, salt and pepper, very common seasonings. Lemon juice, third on the list. You'd be amazed what you can do with lemon juice. Okay, so this pesto is wonderful for breakfast items, for example, scrambled eggs. I'll even show you how I put it onto a poached egg. And like I said before, you can put it onto some grilled chicken, mix it in with some grilled vegetables, and of course pasta. That's its classic, is to toss it up with a little spaghettini or a little angel hair, and you got a meal. So one of my go-to things to make with this pesto is breakfast. So here I have a nice piece of toasted brioche. I got a poached egg sitting on top of it. And then I'm gonna take some nice pesto and just take it right out of my mortar and pestle and just put that right on top like that. And garnish it with a little fresh basil. And I happen to have a couple little pine nuts that missed the mortar and pestle. I'm gonna put those on too, a little garnish there. So there we are, a quick and easy pesto sauce, a wonderful breakfast to serve with it. If you like this video, follow me on Instagram, like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the classroom.